Hey guys, it's Alex, and for this week's top 5 video, I wanted to answer a question that I see a lot floating around, and that is, what are some adult book recommendations for young adult readers? And I'm not trying to imply with this video that young adult readers should branch out into adult books, but I often find that it can be quite difficult since the adult genre is less of a genre in itself and more of just an age range that encompasses most books, and it can be really intimidating when you're trying to get into it and don't necessarily know where to start. So I put together some recommendations for people just based on what I've read and what helped me get more into adult books in middle school and high school. The first book on this list is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. I'm sure a lot of people recognize this from the movie, but it's also an absolutely wonderful book. I would highly recommend this because it is more fairy tale-esque. It deals with a very universal story, and the only reason this book isn't really suitable for children is just because the sense of humor in it is very dry and sarcastic, and I don't necessarily think they would enjoy it as much as the movie. But if you love the movie, I think you'll absolutely love the book as well. Next on this list is The Lightless Sky by Gawali Pasarle. This is a nonfiction book about a 12-year-old Afghani refugee who escaped Afghanistan and spent a year trying to get to England. I think it's really good for young adult readers because he is 12 when this is going on, but he also wrote it as a young adult. This book was published when I think he was around 20 or 21, and it's a very easy to read book. A lot of memoirs, especially about difficult topics like refugees in the Middle East, can be incredibly difficult reads, but I found this one to be incredibly accessible, and it would be a really good first start to get into the genre if you're looking to read some of those books, but might find them rather intimidating. Next on this list is an old favorite, and I think the first adult book I ever read, and that is My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. This is a book about a 13-year-old girl who was born to be an organ donor for her sister who has cancer, and she eventually decides to sue her parents for the rights to her own body. It follows not only Anna, the main character, but also her parents, her sister, her brother, her lawyer, and her guardian ad litem. Because it does tell the story a lot of Anna, I think it does help to start with another teenage main character and her coming-of-age story, but you also have all the adult perspectives and points of views mixed in, which I think is a really good beginner to get into some more adult fiction when you're already starting with a child's perspective. And I just really enjoy this book overall. The next book on this list is The Unseen World by Liz Moore, which has been making it onto a lot of my lists recently. But this is an absolutely stunning adult historical fiction novel about a young girl whose father has been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. It's a heartbreaking, wonderful story, and I think because a lot of the book is set during her childhood and teenage years, it is in part a coming-of-age story. It just continues on through her adulthood. That I think it's the kind of story that will be familiar to a lot of young adult readers. It's just written in a very adult format. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking story that I honestly can't recommend enough. And the final book on this list is Atonement by Ian McEwan. I know this is a fairly popular book. I think it's one of the first books that a lot of people read in high school for adult fiction. I know a lot of my friends read it at around 15 and 16 and really enjoyed it, and I think part of that is because it is in part a coming-of-age story, and it deals a lot with the mistakes that a young teenage girl made and how they have repercussions throughout her adult life. A lot of the story does deal literally with her atoning for her sins, and I think it's a lovely story and a really good place to start for young adult readers. Feel free to leave your recommendations for this in the comments below. I'd love to see what other books you think would be really good for young adult readers trying to get into some more adult fiction. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye!